Thank you for sitting down with me today.
Yes, Miss Monique, thank you for having me.
So, please state your name for the camera.
My name is Miss Brandy Owens.
And how long have you been teaching?
I have been teaching for 6 years. This is my 6th year.
So, what grade levels and subjects have you taught?
When I first started teaching, I started in 2nd grade teaching all subjects. And then 1 year I had the best class ever. I couldn't let them go to 3rd grade without me, so I moved up to 3rd grade, and this is my 3rd year teaching 3rd grade.
That is so cool. And do you teach ELA?
I teach ELA and social studies this year.
Awesome. So, moving into that, what curriculum do you use?
For ELA, we are using guidebooks, and for social studies, we are using Bayou Bridges.
Awesome. And about, if you don't mind, I'm going to focus on ELA. What do you think is it like to teach the guidebooks curriculum with Fidelity?
Teaching guidebooks with Fidelity, to me, looks like utilizing the resources available to us through the Guidebooks Louisiana Teach website. They offer a lot of resources for differentiation or supports, and they also have some activities for acceleration. And I also think to utilize our curriculum coaches to make sure we're using the curriculum with Fidelity, asking the right questions, or to see how we can get students to perform at the level that they need.
Awesome. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the curriculum? Like, what are your thoughts for guidebooks for literacy instruction, and specifically its strengths and limitations?
Guidebooks has some great books for students to engage with. I do like the 3rd grade unit readers. They also have a lot of opportunities for students to engage in discussions, to develop their thinking. For writing assessments, they have a strong Writing Revolution workbook activity for them to do every day to grow that writing skills. I do think it is limited in teaching test-taking strategy skills for them to perform well on state testing, though. It can implement more multiple choice questions, more short answer responses, and things like that, so that they can be ready for questions like that on state testing.
Awesome. And what data is collected for you to determine the track of their reading proficiency? And is there a way that you put that into your planning or curriculum?
So for their reading proficiency, we do have the DIBELS test that they take in the beginning, middle, and end of the year. And throughout the year, we have progress monitoring for their writing through the different writing assessments through guidebooks. I use those as references to make my groupings for interventions. So the skills that students are struggling with, I will pull them to my teacher's table to work on those skills. So that data is helpful for that, and then also to communicate with parents, where their students stand, what they can work on at home to help, bridge that gap and, apply that learning and make it stick.
That's awesome. What do you find, sorry, there was no transition there, thank you. What do you find is the biggest literacy need facing today's students?
Today, I have noticed that students are struggling with comprehension. Reading comprehension is so imperative, and that can be seen in their oral discussions, like answering questions out loud, but then also students can be able to read 100 words in a minute, but cannot tell you what they read about or cannot apply what they learned from the text to writing. So that comprehension key is something that I think is hindering the students today.
Awesome. And what is there anything else you'd like me to know about teaching? And that's our last question.
Okay, so my thing with teaching is that it is a very rewarding job. It is a never-ending journey of learning, and I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you today, because I feel like as we learn how to teach, we are learning continuously. What is the saying? In learning you will teach, and in teaching you will learn, something like that. And it's just always a great opportunity to learn from one another, so that way we can give the best instruction for our kids.
That is so awesome. By the way, Miss Brandy's the best teacher. Thank you so
Miss
much.
Monique. You're so sweet. I try my best.